Becoming smart is easy. Actually, ever feel like the world is throwing a million things at you and expecting you to magically figure it all out? They tell you to stay in school, get good grades, and somehow you'll just become smart. But let me ask you, does it feel like it's working? Or are you stuck wondering why your efforts aren't paying off? Here's the secret no one tells you. Being smart isn't about endless years of schooling or following the same tired advice about eating brain food and getting more sleep. Becoming truly smart is easier and way more exciting than you think. In this video, I'm going to show you how to hack your learning, supercharge your brain, and actually use what you know to crush your goals. You won't need to memorize random facts or spend years stuck in the classroom. This is about working smarter, not harder, and I promise, it's a game changer. What does being smart actually mean? Let's talk about what people really mean when they say, "I want to get smarter." Because, let's be honest, it's not about being able to recite every capital city or solving impossible math equations, just for fun. When most of us say we want to be smart, we mean a few specific things. Learning useful skills, the kind that actually make life better. Like, wouldn't it be great to pick up something marketable, something that pays the bills or even helps you start a side hustle? Improving problem-solving abilities because life throws curveballs, and being able to think creatively and find solutions. That's where the magic happens. Excelling in school or work, whether it's acing a test, mastering a challenging project, or simply impressing the boss, being smart often translates to leveling up your career. And let's admit it, we all enjoy a little flex now and then. Sounding intelligent in conversations, not to show off, but to earn respect. The trick, though, is finding that balance, sharing your knowledge without turning into a walking encyclopedia no one wants to hang out with. So, what does being smart actually mean? It's not about knowing everything, it's about gaining knowledge you can use, solving problems that matter, and communicating it in a way that connects with others. Why most advice about getting smarter fails? Let's face it, the internet is overflowing with advice on how to get smarter. You've probably heard things like, eat blueberries, they're brain food. Drink black coffee to boost focus. Exercise more and get better sleep. Now, these are all great for your brain health, sure. But let's be honest, none of these are actual strategies for becoming smarter. You won't suddenly become Einstein by swapping your cereal for blueberries. So, what does it take to truly get smarter? Let's dive in. Number 1. Read strategically. Reading is one of the best ways to grow your intelligence. But here's the catch. What you read matters. Fiction. Fiction isn't just entertainment. It improves your vocabulary, builds empathy, and trains you to read faster. Plus, books with lots of dialogue can improve your conversational skills. It's like having imaginary conversations that make you better at real ones. Non-fiction. This is your gold mine for practical smarts. Books about history, science, or self-improvement teach you concepts and facts you can apply in real life. Want to impress someone with an insightful comment or nail a work presentation? Non-fiction has your back. Pro tip: don't just store knowledge, share it. Say someone mentions, crazy how we evolved from chimpanzees, right? Instead of launching into a moment, try this. You know, I read something interesting about that humans and chimps actually evolved side by side. Fascinating, right? This approach makes you sound knowledgeable and approachable, which is the ultimate win-win. Number 2. Learn by doing. Here's the thing. Reading alone won't make you smarter. To really understand and remember what you've learned, you need to put it into action. Actionable learning. Imagine you read an article about improving your posture. Don't just think, "That's neat." Put the advice into action immediately. Try sitting up straight while working or practicing yoga poses that align your spine. The physical practice locks in the lesson. Mental simulations. Let's say you're learning how to handle an emergency, like stopping a kitchen fire. You don't want to wait until your pan actually bursts into flames to figure it out. Instead, imagine the scenario. You see smoke, grab the lid, and cover the flames to smother them. Picture the process step by step. Visualization tricks your brain into thinking you've done it, so when it happens, you'll act instinctively. So, here's your challenge. Pick one thing to read this week and find a way to apply it. Who knows? You might be the person teaching me something next time. Number 3. Master the 80/20th rule. Work smarter, not harder if you want to learn faster and with more impact. Focus on what you learn, not how much you learn. This is where the 80/20th rule, also known as the Pareto principle, comes in. It's simple. 80% of results come from 20% of the effort. But how do we apply that to learning? Think about learning a new language. Most people assume they need to memorize every word in the dictionary. But the truth is, by focusing on just 500 of the most common words, you can understand about 70% of everyday conversations. That's right, 500 words. Imagine having a whole new world of conversation opened up with just a fraction of the vocabulary. Or let's say you're learning guitar. Instead of practicing every chord under the sun, you can master just 4 or 5 essential chords that appear in thousands of songs. With these, you can strum your way through most of your favorite tunes. Focus on the high-impact stuff that will bring the quickest returns. This is how mastery happens. Pro tip: ask yourself, what's the most important 20% I can focus on right now to unlock 80% of the results? It's about picking your battles wisely. Number 4. Make learning active. Tests and challenges work. Here's a fun fact. Exams aren't just for school. They're actually one of the best ways to lock in knowledge. Why? Because they force your brain to remember and retrieve information under pressure. And that pressure, it's the magic ingredient. So how can we create this artificial stress for ourselves? Easy. Start by creating practice questions for yourself, just like a test. For example, if you're studying the solar system, ask yourself, what's the order of the planets? Then quiz yourself. Or better yet, imagine you're a spaceship commander and you have 30 seconds to name all the planets before blasting off on an intergalactic mission. Here's a more intense one. Imagine you're about to perform brain surgery and you have to remember the names of all the bones in the human body. If you forget one, well, you fall off a cliff. Sounds dramatic, but it gets your brain in gear. This type of high-stakes thinking engages your mind in a way that passive learning just doesn't. Pro tip: create a sense of urgency in your learning, whether it's imagining real-life scenarios or setting up an actual timer for your quizzes. Making it feel important helps your brain prioritize the information. Number 5. Embrace textbooks for deep, efficient learning. I know, textbooks can feel dry. They're dense, full of jargon, and let's be honest, they're not as fun as a quick YouTube video or a TED Talk. But here's the thing. Textbooks are designed for deep learning. They provide concise, focused information and have practice problems that force you to engage with the material. Let's take an example from sports. Think of a textbook as your game plan. The fun part, the actual play on the field, comes later, but you need the strategy and the rules to succeed. If you're learning about economics, for instance, diving into a textbook will give you clear-cut explanations and problems that ensure you understand the core principles. Textbooks might not have the instant gratification of a viral video, but they offer lasting knowledge, and that's what you really need. Want to access textbooks on the cheap? Sometimes you just have to get creative with your search. Accidentally stumble upon some free downloads, and who knows? You might just save a bundle while building your knowledge. Pro tip: don't be intimidated by textbooks. The more you engage with them, the better your understanding will be. Use them as your foundation for long-term learning. Number 6, develop transferable skills. Being smart isn't just about knowing facts, it's about having skills that you can use in multiple situations. Think about it. If you learn to bake a perfect cake today, does that skill only apply to baking? Of course not. Baking teaches you attention to detail, following instructions, and time management, all skills that can be applied elsewhere. Focus on learning transferable skills, those that apply across different domains. A few examples: critical thinking. Learn to challenge assumptions and think logically. Communication. Be able to explain your ideas clearly, whether it's to a friend, a colleague, or in front of an audience. Lifelong learning. Stay curious and keep seeking new opportunities for growth. These skills allow you to adapt to new challenges, making you smarter and more versatile in both personal and professional life. Pro tip: pay attention to the skills you're developing, not just the knowledge. The smarter you get, the more adaptable you become. Number 7, build a feedback loop for continuous improvement. No one becomes an expert without feedback. That's how growth happens. If you don't know where you're falling short, how can you fix it? Here's how to create a feedback loop. Reflect. Take a moment to review what you've learned. What do you remember? What's still fuzzy? Teach others. Teaching is one of the best ways to reinforce your knowledge. If you can explain it simply, you know it inside and out. Seek feedback. Ask others for input. Whether it's a mentor, a peer, or even a stranger, getting constructive criticism helps you identify where you can improve. By building a feedback loop, you turn learning into a dynamic process. It becomes less about consuming information and more about improving over time. Pro tip: don't be afraid of constructive criticism. It's the secret ingredient to getting smarter every day. Final thoughts: embrace lifelong learning. True intelligence isn't about following a formula or collecting degrees. It's about embracing curiosity, stepping out of your comfort zone, and actively engaging with the world. Smart people don't just acquire knowledge, they cultivate it every day. By applying what you learn, challenging yourself, and developing versatile skills, you'll not only become smarter, but also more capable. Remember, the journey never ends. Stay curious, keep learning, and share what you know to inspire others. The path to becoming truly smart starts now, so go forth and make it yours.